So whatever seated posture you've chosen, just allow yourself to feel just how it feels right now, just to be here. Just perhaps as you allow gravity to settle you into this posture, notice perhaps just how your body feels right now. And one way we can do this is just to begin to tune into actual physical sensations. So perhaps starting with the physical sensations of where our body touches the floor or chair beneath us. So maybe starting, if we're leaning against a wall, maybe our back. And rather than just thinking about our back or picturing it, really come to notice how it actually feels right now. It's all the muscles in your back, the contact points with whatever is behind you. Just the raw sensations themselves. And moving down to wherever you feel it next. So that may well be the buttocks or the hips. And it may help to see if you can notice perhaps is one buttock more relaxed or tense than the other? Is there more weight on one side or the other? You can only answer this question by really looking. Sort of down into the legs if they're touching the floor, feeling again just those very real contact points. And then down into the feet. So if the feet are touching the floor, really noticing those particular points at which they touch. So that not only are you feeling the weight of those body parts pushing down, but you're feeling the support of the floor or the chair pushing back. And so as we sit here, there's nothing that we're trying to do. Meditation is perhaps one of the only times in our day when we aren't trying to do anything. We are simply making a space in which we can begin to notice how things are for us right now. And that's very important because much of our time we may spend in our heads with ideas or thoughts about how things are, how our lives are. And yet, if we really just come to the actual physical sensations or our other experiences just moment by moment, we can see that things may well be a little different. Now we've been feeling sensations of the body. Let's feel some other sensations that are here. So we can feel our breath. Just the very act of breathing. Perhaps just noticing that there's an in-breath and there's an out-breath. Maybe as you watch, maybe see if there's a pause in between the two. There may not. It really doesn't matter. This is something that we can choose to tune into. So here, perhaps we could allow our awareness to lay like a light blanket over the whole of the breath. So maybe right from the very first sip of breath on the inhale, all the way through until our lungs are full, maybe noticing any pauses, and then all the way out, feeling how the out-breath feels, even right to the very last drop of air that leaves. And again, any little pause between that and the next in-breath. Just settling on that experience, wherever you feel it most in the body. And you may feel it as a sense of expansion, perhaps as muscles move out the way to allow either the chest or the belly, maybe even the back, to expand and contract with the breath. Or there may be other places that you notice it more. Just have a look. Remembering that there's no right answers, there's just what's happening for you right now. Here we just watch the breath. Our breath, a constant companion through life. It's always here in the background. Sometimes the only time we notice is if we're running for something and we get out of breath, or maybe if we're not very well. But it's here all the time. So it's really useful to use it as a focus for meditation. We can see how our breathing is, maybe how it changes, how it may be different from one day to the next. And it might be that as we sit, just keep watching the breath over and over, we might actually find that our mind begins to wander. Perhaps we get caught up in a thought and we suddenly realize that we've been daydreaming, and then we can come back. And that's perfectly okay, because that's exactly what happens. That is the nature of our minds. Our minds are often very busy, and thoughts can be very attractive. So the practice that we do here is really not to judge if our minds are very busy and if we get distracted, but just to notice when we do and go, maybe noticing where our mind went. I was thinking about tomorrow. I was thinking about something yesterday, a conversation perhaps. And then just come back to the breathing. And so we might have to do this many, many times. And that's okay. That is the practice of meditation. Beginning to build our ability to focus, to notice when we're distracted, and to choose on what and when we wish to pay attention. Now it may help, particularly when we begin to learn meditation, perhaps to count the breaths. So after the inhale and then after the exhale, we can just say silently in our mind, 1. And on the next inhale and exhale, 2, and so on. And to start with, perhaps we can just attempt to count 10 breaths. So counting to 10. But if at any time we find that our mind has wandered and we've got lost in thoughts or daydreaming, we just have to start all over again at one. And so don't be despondent if the first few times you try this, you might notice that you don't get very far. That's just showing us just how our minds are on a day-to-day basis, and perhaps how much we do need to be able to learn to focus on the things that are important. So now just continuing to watch the breath, the sensations of breathing. if you choose, you can continue to stay sitting here and watch the breath for as long as you wish. Otherwise, you can join me in just bringing your attention back to the sensations in the body again. Those places in which we find support from the chair or the floor. And then just move your awareness into your hands, particularly your fingers, as we just start to move our fingers, waking them up. Feeling how that feels, even though it's something we've done thousands of times before. And maybe into the wrists as we start to rotate the wrists, just waking them up. And maybe just have a scan through your body. You notice anywhere that it's got a little stiff, maybe achy from sitting here. Just give those areas a little stretch, a little wriggle around. And whenever you're ready, just coming back to continue your day.